Soul family, a mentee. And the reason why I hesitate is because we are in a state of transformation and my person is elevating, and with that comes new frequencies and new ways of showing up. So I wanted to jump on today as I walk in nature, giving thanks for this beautiful, blessed day. And I want to talk a little bit about transcending the ego and awakening the soul, and why it's supremely important on this journey. Because a lot of the information that we hear about spiritual awakening, spiritual growth, spiritual development, a lot of it is peripheral. The work that really needs to be done in order for us to bring our soul consciousness or soul awareness into being is about transcending the ego. Most people don't even know what the ego is, and also, even though they engage in spiritual practices, may not have done the work to understand the ego and also dissolve the ego. And what do I mean by that? You are not the ego. The ego is an aspect of you that was created through your experiences growing up. You were a soul, you are a soul. Some of us are more than a soul, but you are a soul, expressing itself through this physical body, not just having a human experience. Because what is a human experience? Human is not just one thing, right? To be divinity in the flesh and to enlighten this physical body is more than just having a human experience. But you've chosen to come as a source, as a fragment of light, and express itself through this physical body. And in order for you to navigate this reality, you have to work with the apparatus of this physical body, the mind, the body, the nervous system, the heart. All of these things, all of these senses help us to integrate our soul into the physical body. Kind of like in RoboCop, where the consciousnness of the man was put into the body. It's exactly what it is. And then he was able to be a robot, exactly what it is, right? And how the ego develops is the ego is basically our mask. I mean, the ego is the part of us that is always trying to ensure that we do what we need to do, that we live the life that we need to live, and that we survive, right? Ego is all about survival. So the ego can develop as early as in the womb. So sometimes when we think we are born this way or we're born with certain qualities, no, it's just that our ego was very aware in the womb of what we were experiencing whilst we were in the womb, what our mother was going through, because her feelings, her emotions are channeled through us via the umbilical cord, and our nervous system and our mother's nervous system are one and the same whilst we're in the womb. So we absorb energetically and unconsciously, we absorb this information from her, and then the ego starts to develop. The ego is the part of us that goes, ooh, okay, well, if she's experiencing all of this anger and frustration, then I need to make sure that when I come out, I can be safe from this anger. I can be safe from this frustration. I can protect myself. I can protect her. Oh, I might want to make her feel more happy. Or why does she always seem to be low in emotion? Maybe I can help her be more happy. So some of the things that we're born thinking, or, that we think that we're born like that, we're not. Our ego develops in the womb. So we absorb everything that's going on, and the ego's job is to help us to protect us and prepare us for living in this life, right? And so sometimes when you are born, your ego is already developing. And as you grow, your ego is also developing, learning, negotiating. How can I keep safe? How can I, negotiating this environment of being alive and what it means to be alive. And the ego develops what's called a personality or a persona, personal frequency, a personal image of you that is safe, that will allow you to operate in the world. And so your insecurities, your fears, your trauma responses from certain experiences that you've gone through all inform your ego. And your ego is creating an identity that you can shine your soul through so that you can be safe to live in this life and experience. Now, your ego is always trying to protect you. But what happens, there comes a point in our life where the ego's way of doing things, the ego's way of protecting us, number one, doesn't allow our soul to express itself. And number two, it hinders us from growth and development. Why? Because the 6-year-old version of you that didn't understand what was going on in certain situations, whether it was childhood situations, whether it was situations where it wasn't nourished, that 6-year-old version of you is not going to help you when you're 25 and 26 and you're interacting in relationships with big people. You're going to start to realize that your issues, your challenges, your struggles are going to start to come up, right? Why? Because your ego, as I said, was subconsciously creating an image of you that is not congruent with your soul. Your soul is your divine essence. Your soul is the part of you that knows all things, the part of you that has faith over fear, the part of you that is hardwired to the divine. But the ego is the part of you that's hardwired to this reality. It's hardwired to feeling safe and feeling secure and needing to be validated. And so when we're on a journey of awakening, we are awakening from an unconscious reality where things are just happening to us. And we are awakening to a conscious reality where we start to understand, explore and investigate the things that are happening in our life. That's what awakening is. It's about bringing your awareness to that which was unconscious. But what can happen at that point is we start to take in information that feeds the soul, right? So our soul is trying to communicate with us. Our soul is trying to guide us on our purpose, on our path. But then the ego is in conflict. So let's say our soul says, I want to enjoy being in the park, connecting with people, and I'm a loving person who loves sharing energy with others. My purpose is to connect people. But if you've been through experiences in your life where you felt judged for stepping up and defending others, or you were restricted from being able to be around people, your ego is going to be in direct conflict with your soul. Okay, your ego is saying, no, I have to stay safe and keep away from people because people will judge me and harm me. But your soul is saying, I am here to be seen. And so there's a conflict. And then what can happen is we try to bypass it with all of these affirmations and all of these things without the proper understanding of how energetics work. If you are thinking something and then you say it and it doesn't hold the same frequency, it's not true. It's not going to manifest. If you feel something and you say something and they don't match in frequency, it's not true. It's not going to manifest. And so you'll see a lot of incongruency. And a lot of people also get into spirituality, spiritual practices, spiritual teaching, because their ego is what's leading them. And so the ego felt like it was misunderstood. The ego felt like it wasn't heard. And the ego felt like it wanted help. So instead of giving the ego, the higher self within the person, giving the ego what it needs, it then goes on to learn how to do it. It learns how to heal other people, and by proxy feels like it's healing itself, but really it's not. It's creating another false image. It's creating another persona, personal ego-based frequency, which then distorts the truth of the soul, because the lens through which you're now expressing all of this spiritual knowledge is tainted. And this is why I say that you are your first client. When I work with my students, you are your first client. If you can't undo you, if you can't help you transform, then you have no business, in a way, helping anybody else to do the same. And so if we don't check the ego, then the soul cannot fully express itself. And so the information that we absorb that's supposed to awaken us ends up being something that stagnates us. Why? Because we don't do the work on the ego. A lot of my work recently is shifting I say it's shifting, but it started here, right? The study of the soul, understanding the soul, because the soul and the ego, the soul and the conscious mind are two different things. And in order for us to awaken and truly start to live from the higher self, you have to do the work on the soul. Now the soul has no understanding of time, right? The soul, it says that energy never dies, it only transforms. So when your physical body leaves this physical realm, your physical body transforms and goes back into the earth, but your soul doesn't. Your soul moves into another dimension and has another experience. So most of the time, sometimes when your soul then chooses to, let's say, reincarnate back into a physical human body, the information from the lifetimes before, when you have been in the physical body, are going to activate because they activate through the physical body. how the soul interfaces with the physical body is through the nervous system, literally your nervous system. And so this is why a lot of people are having issues with their nervous system, right? Because the soul is trying to communicate and energize and speak and through and move through the body. However, there's distortions based on imprints from certain experiences, traumas, beliefs, all of this kind of stuff, right? And whether you like it or not, beliefs are the building blocks of your reality. Subconscious programming or subconscious transformation is key to you being able to unlock certain actions, attitudes and behaviors that are operating autonomously. When we look at psychology used to be called the study of the soul, but really psychology helps you to understand trauma based on your response to the events and also your behaviors and attitudes based on things you've experienced. But soul healing, soul work, soul mastery helps you to understand more. It helps you to look at the impact of the trauma and how that affected the way that your soul is allowed to express itself through your body. The soul also holds wounds, like I said, from past experiences. So when you have certain recurrent themes happening in your life, it's because your soul is trying to express itself. Karma is also connected to the soul, and the soul chooses to come in with certain karmas, not to punish itself, but ultimately so that it can learn. It can learn the lessons through the experiences that are bound to that karma. And so if you're not able to see that from the soul's perspective, you will be stuck in the ego's perspective, which knows suffering and pain. And guess what? We've literally just exited the age of struggle and suffering. And a lot of us, our beings, are addicted to struggling and suffering and savior complexes. So the healing is a big part of how we step into soul awareness, how we step into soul embodiment and become and be that which we are here to be. And this is exactly what the Christ talked about, but everyone got distracted by the message. And so I, the mother, am coming to share the same message, to walk the same walk, to walk the same journey, ultimately to give you the same wisdom, that you are a multi-dimensional being, that you are not this physical body, but you need to understand the multi-dimensional nature of your physicality, your emotions, your mental, in order to unlock the God frequency in you. That is the ascension. So I have arrived where I'm meant to be. Hi. And I've shared a little bit about what I want to share, but I'll be talking a little bit more about this, about understanding soul consciousness, understanding how to transcend the ego, because that's really where the power is. There's no point sitting down meditating, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, going to this retreat, that retreat. Like, really think about it. The whole spiritual community has been infiltrated by people who just want Instagram pics, sacredness of the land, with no respect for the sacredness of the people, the cultures, the traditions, because the ego is what's driving their desire for spiritual pursuit. And when our spiritual pursuits are driven by the ego, we don't understand the sacredness, we don't understand it from the soul's perspective. And so I say that to say this: the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, but a journey of 1,000 souls begins with the first breath. If you want to start getting back into understanding who it is that you are, and this journey of transversing the ego or transcending the ego, start with the breath. Start with the breath. Start with connecting back to your body. Hey, sister. Connecting back to your body. Start with tapping into the body and learning more about you and how you show up and how your energy shows up. And recognize that you are the creator, you are the destroyer, you are the subject, all in one. So when we can start to see our lives not from a perspective of survival or threat or being attacked or being harmed, but from a place of observation, understanding and awareness, we disengage the ego. We disengage the ego and at least allow the spirit, the soul, to start to move through us. We've become addicted to pain, suffering, struggle, and everyone's looking for a quick and easy way to reach enlightenment. But you are the journey, you are the path, and it starts with getting real with who you are. The amount of times I've had to die to myself, and every time I define myself, I feel like I grow beyond that definition. And that's the true nature of us. Like, we are evolutionary consciousness, constantly growing, evolving, and experiencing itself. But in order for you to tap into the expansive power of your soul, you need to transverse the ego. And that's where the work is, right? And it means getting real with yourself. It means being loving and compassionate and nurturing yourself, but being real about what stuff and what parts of you are actually you and what's conditioned, and being willing to let that go, because you can only tap into your soul wisdom when you're at one with your soul. And if you're still in your ego, you're going to be reliant on, readers and people outside of you. And yes, you can become disillusioned, because the power is always going to be in you. You're not helpless. You chose to experience everything that you chose to experience because it was going to help your soul evolve and grow. And so it's about tapping back into that part of yourself. This is the truth of the ascension and the spirituality. And no, it's not going to happen by somebody doing in front of you. No, because you chose to experience all of this. So go and experience it. But start with the ego. Start with recognizing where the ego is showing up in your life and lovingly dissolve it. The ego was created so that you could learn how to survive within this world. But the ego of your 6-year-old self is not going to help you at 41, 35 or 50 to become your greatest version. So work on loving yourself. Work on understanding your shadows. Work on meeting them all from the place of your soul so that you can step into soul embodiment, soul awareness and soul power. You can't tap into soul consciousness and gifts and all of these things if you're not willing to be a clear and transparent channel. And in order to do that, you have to get real with your own stuff, like what's in your field, what influences the way that you think, right? Another thing that and I saw this yesterday, and I agreed with it. A lot of people are experiencing conflicts in their beliefs, right? Because when you are grown in a certain system and you have a certain mindset, and you grow within these mindsets. Greetings, Vernon, I hope you are well. They have an influence on you, and so we have to clear out our belief systems. Look at where our belief systems came from and whether they're working in alignment with us, because your belief systems are going to impact your ability to succeed. If you have belief systems that subconsciously say that people like you don't succeed or can't make money, or people from your community don't know how to manage wealth, then those are binding codes. These are binds that are on your being. You need to identify some of the programs that are running within your subconscious and clear them so that you are free to experience everything that the Most High has designed in you to experience. So if you would like to have more discussions about this, if you would like me to share a bit more about understanding the soul and the ego, then please do comment below, whether you're watching it live or in the replay. But my spirit just guided me to come on and really talk from a truthful perspective, because in the age of Aquarius, in this time, there is so much information, but not all of the information is true, and you have to be able to sift through the wheat from the chaff. And that's going to come from discernment, and it's going to come from a strong sense of self. Okay, like even this AI that most people are feeling like, or asking questions to, like as if it's God. All it's doing is repeating information that it has already received from others. But what's happening in you is something even more dire. What's happening is the disillusion of your divine intelligence. At a time when you're supposed to be waking up, at a time when you're supposed to be exploring the level of this and the intelligence that you have available to you, most people are outsourcing their divinity to AI and tools because they really just don't believe in themselves. So this is a time of really discerning, testing everything, but also testing within yourself and calling out the devils, calling out the demons within yourself that are hindering you from your own success. And that starts with the ego. So today, my intention, my wish for you is that you are aware of your ego and how your ego has shown up in your life, whether to destroy things or whether to protect you. And I encourage you now to allow your soul to step forward. The part of you that is free of burden, the part of you that is free of trauma, the part of you that's free of attachment, the part of you that's not conditioned by this world, because that's where divinity lives. And the Christ showed us that is what we are here to do, to bring forth that part of ourselves and overcome the ego. So I am a mentee. As I said, I won't say anything else because I'm in transition, but I just wanted to share that sonic frequency with you, praying that you receive it. And as I said, if you have any comments, questions that you would like to add, then please do put in the comment below. Sister Supernova Goddess, thank you for your comment. Thank you for your presence, and thank you for being here. I am a mentee and I'm sending you all love. Have a great day.